Well, I think that's college basketball this year, and you better have experience. You better, when you go on the road or play at home, you better have some soundness because there's so much talent in college basketball. Throwaway records, especially in the major conferences, teams get better as the season progresses. With all the video that you watch, teams, there's not as many tricks now, or you're not surprising teams maybe as perhaps early in the season. The coaching, all those things bring it close. So you've got to be ready, and you can throw again out the rankings, the records, all that stuff, and you see it all around. I think it's even getting into football, more and more. It's just parity's there, so you have to be ready. And yeah, when you go in tough settings without experience, it's hard. And I think that's what we're fortunate to have guys who've been there and either have tasted success or have been in those spots a few times to understand what it takes and then how to prepare for that. Again, there's parity and there's good teams in our league, and you have to be ready every night out for sure.
Like you said, throwing out wins and losses, just for you guys from game 1 to game 15, how have you liked the improvement you've seen in your guys?
Yeah, I think you have to improve, especially as you get into conference. If you don't improve, you kind of get left behind, and I think we've last couple of games, doesn't mean it's going to be there this game, but we've played better defensively and we're a little more consistent. And I think guys have stepped up. What I've liked of it, it's been different guys at different times, and I think that balance or that depth has really been a key for this year. We put Isaiah Wilkins in, who's been little used, and he really did a good job. You're seeing some of the first years in Mariel really give us a nice lift, and whether it was London hitting threes in Miami or Darion having a big game in Notre Dame, different guys, different times, that's been very important for us. So you have to steadily improve, and I think our guys, we've done that in little increments, but that's the only way you can do it.
When you're taking out another defensive team like what Clemson likes to do, what does that do to the margin for error for you guys on the offensive end, for any team playing a team like that?
Yeah, well, first, Clemson's very physical. They went into Louisville and played them to a real tight game, and then just went to Pitt and were successful. And those are two good physical teams they went against. They offensive rebound at a high level. And if you look at our Notre Dame stats, they offensive rebounded against us. They had 16 offensive rebounds. So, there's some key areas we're going to have to be better at. And I really respect, again, how well coached and how hard-nosed Clemson is. They make you work to get good shots. Little different system, but same mindset defensively as we try to have. And again, just like we said, every game you've got to be ready. And they're certainly playing. They're improving. They're playing better basketball.
Brad's teams have a tendency to throw their opponents off from a rhythm standpoint. How do you combat that going into tomorrow?
Yeah, just a good defensive team. Again, physical. They disrupt. You have to, against good defenses, it's very hard to think you can make one pass and break it down. You have to have a level of patience and willingness to rotate them until good shots occur, and then be real good on the other end where they have to work. But we've had some wars against them over the years, and they're starting to do that to the opponents they're playing.
How do you keep your guys grounded when they're walking around grounds and people are talking about you guys being 19-0 when you play Duke?
That's almost laughable. It really is we're not the kind of team that's built to think, it's just the next game. And that would be really a big mistake. That's fine for other people to think and project that. That's for the fans. But for us, it's having a quality practice and looking, all right, what can we do to prepare for Clemson? All you got to do is look around college basketball. So our ability to be ready against a physical Clemson team is what's next. And I think my hope is the experiences that a lot of these guys have had last year and leading up to that will help. But that's where what's in front of you and being in the process is so important, because all it takes is, we'll just look ahead to something and it'll end real quick. They're playing good basketball. Physicality on the offensive glass, hard-nosed defensive team that does disrupt, likes to take teams out of their rhythm, and just being ready to go. Both teams, I don't know their exact schedule, but this is the third game in a short amount of time, or even fourth game in a short amount of time. So really locking in and being ready to play. And I'm excited to be back at home. I know our guys are too.
Is that another example, like you said, this condensed schedule kind of where the added depth that you guys have can help, and guys who can jump in there?
Yeah, I hope so. Certainly we're playing. I've shortened our rotation in some ways with our perimeter guys, but I think experience, and different guys that are fresh and getting energy and being ready. But, you've watched all of our conference games have been either stretches where we've been down by a bit, or you just got to scrap and know that it's a 40-minute or in some cases 50-minute ordeal that is true anybody you play. You can't, I think that question was right, you can't assume, well, this is where they are in the rankings. Just got to be ready.
What do you think's been most impressive about Darion's play thus far?
Yeah, I think Darion, he brings a level of quickness defensively with his timing to block shots, his ability to guard ball screens, and he's been pretty steady. But also offensively, he has a nice touch, and he's been able to get some shots in the offense where he's posted up if he has a smaller guy or even a guy that's bigger and score some key buckets for us. I just think that consistency and, after falling on his backside against Maryland, he's responded. He's healthy now, and he's given us a great lift on both ends of the floor. We needed everything he had against Notre Dame, and he really responded. So he's similar to Akil last year, that guy that can disrupt the other team's offense. He does that, but if he's got good position, you can throw it to him, and he's made some good things happen.
How much do you think the experience of last year, going through, being one of the favorites in the ACC tournament and all that media going around, has helped this team kind of block everything out?
I think I hope it helps. It has to help. Anytime you've been through something, good or bad, you rely on that and you learn from it. And I think our guys realize how fleeting it is and how prepared you have to be for the next step. So being in those spots, having guys that, we have a large group of upperclassmen going through that, to me is an advantage for being in this spot right now.
AG's minutes have been down a little bit. Is he under the weather, or has it just been matchup kind of related? You like with Isaiah and some of the other guys?
I thought we needed in the Notre Dame game, we needed we needed life. We needed energy. Their four-man Connington is a hard matchup. He's kind of like a Joe Harris as a four, a guy that can drive and shoot. And that's a tough matchup for our more power forwards. And that's why I thought whether it was Evan or whether it was, we thought about Isaiah, because he's been practicing well and he's very active. You could see that. He wasn't perfect, but we went with that, and he did a good job for us. And as far as Anthony, Mike, Darion, those are our mainstay guys. Evan, and then, now Isaiah in the mixer, we go four guards. We just sort of base it on how those guys are playing. What the opponent has and how it looks. And, I think it's kind of cyclical with those guys. It could be different guys at different times, but there's no question, we're going to need them all, and Anthony's a key part of this.